Hello Wargamers! I'm here with a new video. This time I want to show with you a 1850 Dark Angels army that I prepared for a battle. In that video I will present the units I'll use in this army and what is the tactics behind of the units. But be aware of one thing. I'm not looking for the high efficient army or looking just for the most efficient units in the codex. First, I'm using the units I have and I have paint. And second, I like to try different things. For example, in that army you will see that I'm using mandrakes. Maybe are not one of the best choices in the Dark Eldar army, but I want to give a try to them. Now let's go to see what is the army list I prepared for the 1850 battle. Let's start with the headquarters. As a headquarters I had two choices. First, I select Archon with Hashblade and Shadowfield. I want him to be a good asset in close combat, and most likely he will join one of the witches unit that I will include in my army. The other one is the Monculus, and I will equip them with Hex Rifle and Agonizer. The Hex Rifle is because I want to use them most in shooting, and I just put the Agonizer in case they have to go into close combat. The main purpose of the Monculus is going to be to add a pain token to the mandrakes, so he will join the mandrakes from the first point. I will explain more on the elite choices how I will use the mandrakes. I like to use the Cavalry Warriors as the core of my army, and I like to use them in units of 10, and sometimes I even use units of 20. In that case, I use 3 units of 10 with the Dark Lance, and then I use another unit of 10 with Blaster and Splinter Cannon. So the first 30 Cavalry Warriors will be very static at the beginning, just protecting the middle field and be support fire to the rest of the units that will advance to the enemy. The other unit that have the Splinter Cannon and Blaster will be supporting one of the assault units. I also add a rider to one of the Cavalry Warriors, but this rider will be used by the mandrakes, so I only take it as a troops because mandrakes cannot have assigned transport. So I complete my troops with 2 units of witches. One is a unit of 8 witches, all equipped with highway grenades and a Hecatrix with Agonizer. This is the unit where I want to include my Archon, and the aim of this unit is to go to the enemy and try to lock them in close combat, or avoid that, or be a counterattack unit in case that I don't want to assault. The other units of 5 witches that go in a Venom will be more focused to get some targets at the end of the battle. So it's a unit of 5, so they don't have a lot of power in close combat, but they will be equipped with highway grenades and Hecatrix, who give enough punch to kill units or to kill small opponent units. For example, if there are 3 tactical marines protecting an objective, this will be enough to kill them all. Then I use the mandrakes as the only elite choice for this army, and I use the mandrakes just because I want to try them and I want to experiment a little bit. So what I realize is the mandrakes are only useful if they have 1 paint token. For this purpose, I attach the Monculus to this unit, and they will borrow the transport from one of the Cavalry Warriors. So the idea is, okay, I will sacrifice Infiltrate, the ability of Infiltrate, but I will use them in a transport at the beginning of the battle, try to move close to the enemy and be at distance that they can use the shooting power they have. Because I think Assault 2, Power 4, Strength 4, AP 4 is quite a nice weapon. So, and then I will attach the homunculus with the Hectrix rifle, that is a sniper and venom and poisoned 2+ weapon. So the main purpose of this unit is to hostigate the enemy, try to avoid the enemy to move from their position, and in case it's necessary they will assault and sacrifice, because in most of the scenarios they will not give any point to the enemy. So this is a unit that can be sacrificed without any problem. As fast attack, I select a beast pack composed by 5 Chimerais, 1 Clouded Fiend, and 2 Beastmasters. It's the first time I'm using this unit, as being painted very recently. And I'm using the Clouded Fiend. I know that I cannot make use of the Toughness 5, but it's the miniature I have, and I want to give a trial to the complete best pack. This unit will go together with the witches in one of the flanks, and they will be an assaulting force, or a force to contain the enemy, so just by threatening. Sometimes you don't need to assault, just be close enough to avoid the enemy is advancing. So the objective is to block one of the flanks of my opponent with the witches and the beast pack. And then I add as a heavy support 3 Ravengers. 2 of the Ravengers have dark lenses and 1 disintegrators. So the objective is to give support fire where is needed. I make use of the speed, and normally I will deploy them at the behind and at the center, so at my backward, but centered in the way that they can go to any of the 2 flanks, or they can just give support fire in the middle in case the warriors need more support fire. And to finalize with that army, I add a fortification, and this time I add a Aegis line with a quad cannon. This is going to be my only anti-fly weapon, but the main purpose of the Aegis line is to give defense to the warriors that I will try to deploy in the center of the battlefield and as close as to the middle zone as possible. So this is more or less my plan. I will use the 40 warriors plus the Aegis line to deploy as advanced as possible in the middle of the battlefield. And then I will use the 3 Ravagers to give support fire to the center or to the flanks. In one of the flanks, I will deploy the witches with the Archon and the Beast Pack, and I will try to press on that flank. And the other flank, I will try to use the Mandrakes to hostigate. Then the other unit of witches can go, or 5 witches, will be more or less at the reserve and will give support where is needed, to the flank, center, or to the left flank. So the idea is to use these witches in the last turns to hold an objective if it's possible, or to deny an objective from the opponent. The Mandrakes will just do a very similar role. They will hostigate, and at the end of the turns, if it's needed, they will assault if with that movement they will deny an objective from my opponent. So summarizing, the plan is big block in the center and then use 2 flanks to press the enemy lines. The main weak point of this list is I have very little anti-flight weapons. So if my enemy comes with a lot of flyers, I will have problems to hold the enemy. The other problem I can have is the enemy have a lot of weapons or abilities that deny cover, because then my Aegis defense will be useless and my warriors will be in a very bad position. But in any case, I think that the warriors can do a good job holding the center of the battlefield, as 40 warriors equipped with poisoned weapons can do a lot of damage to any infantry enemy unit. So I hope this video has been useful and is an example of how you build up our army list. You don't need to use the most efficient units in the book, but you have to have a plan an idea how you will use them in the battlefield. Of course, you need to play different battles to experience what is the unit that is matching better with your style of playing. In the next video, I will put a battle report, and then you will see how this army is performing under a real game. So you will see in a game how this plan that I try to visualize in front is running during the battle with my opponent. And that's all for this video. Please comment, give your opinion, what will you do different, what do you think about this army, like if you like it, and thanks a lot for watching. See you again later. Bye.